Welcome to Radio 64. Welcome to Radio 64, Video Game Music Remix Radio. I'm your host, Eric Mickles, also known online as duskvstweak. Radio 64 is part of the Radio Meanwhile Network. Visit radiomeanwhile.com for more information about this and other great podcasts. Find past episodes of Radio 64 on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And thank you to WRAQ 92.7 FM in Angelica, New York, for hosting us every Monday at 6 p.m. We opened the show with Lullaby for a World by Emunator and Flexstyle from ocremix.org. That's actually a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remix from the album Club Ocarina, an EDM tribute to The Legend of Zelda. You should definitely check out Club Ocarina. It's a fantastic album. You can find it on Spotify. You can also purchase the album. It's just an electronic dance music of Ocarina of Time, Zelda music, and it's great. It feels like a neon lit club for the whole album. I've been listening to it all week. It has some real cool hits on there, so I would definitely suggest that. Again, that's Club Ocarina, an EDM tribute to The Legend of Zelda, but that song specifically was called Lullaby for World by Emunator and Flexstyle from ocremix.org. That was that Zelda's theme and the title theme by Koji Kondo. That might as well be akin to the Star Wars soundtrack to me as I was growing up. It kind of comes in with that Stranger Things intro-ish, and then it just blasts with nothing but energy and light. So our next song is from the game F-Zero, and what's being remixed here is the Big Blue theme from the original F-Zero game, the 1990 Super NES game that Naoto Ishida and Yumiko Kankai had worked on the soundtrack for. This is called Blue Vacation by Tansunn. They take the Big Blue theme, up there with some of F-Zero's greatest tracks, and they turn it into this Caribbean island song. It's those steel drums that really put you in there. You just want to hang out on the beach, hang in a hammock. It's great. And you know what's fun about it? It still feels so much like the Big Blue theme. It still feels like a song you can race to. So I love that when they can just completely change the genre of a song and it still fits in the spirit. Because even though now you've got those steel drums and you just imagine yourself by the blue ocean, you can still imagine the Blue Falcon just cruising along those flat courses on the Super Nintendo. So this is Blue Vacation by Tansunn from ocremix.org from the game F-Zero. That was Blue Vacation by Tansunn from ocremix.org from the game F-Zero. Big Blue. Great level. I could just do a show where we just play the music from F-Zero X on the Nintendo 64. That game was something special, let me tell you. I think I was always kind of lonely playing the first F-Zero, but on the 64, great. One of my favorite games. One of my favorite games, period. We're not talking about F-Zero X right now, are we? Which is too bad. The next track is from the album Humans and Gears, Xenogears Remixed, which was a 2-disc album that OC Remix released a while ago, remixing all the songs from Xenogears, obviously, which is still on my to playlist and is very high on my to playlist. This is a remix of the track Stage of Death. It's called Welcome to the Human Race by John Revoredo and Paul Weaps. The original soundtrack was by Yasunori Mitsuda. And every time I hear music from it, I'm like, why haven't I played this game yet? It just sounds so interesting and unique and so different from, I guess, for me personally, the Final Fantasy JRPG music. This one with that far future, the slight religious sounds, I love it. So this track, Welcome to the Human Race, it has a great guitar riff that's going through it. The whole song just sounds tense, and you imagine like alarms going off as you're trying to run through hallways, and and the track also does something I'm a real sucker for. Some people might find it cheesy. It's all those voiceover samples from Escape from New York or Citizen Kane. That line, I was expelled from colleges, a lot of colleges. I don't know why it clicks for me and why I feel like it just fits into this music, but it does. The strings, the strings and the guitar working, it really does feel like a dizzying piece of stressful rock music. So I love when the guitar starts tearing it up, but yeah, those voiceovers, just put in the appropriate voiceovers in your song and I'm gonna like it. So this is called Welcome to the Human Race by John Revoredo and Paul Weaps from the album Humans and Gears, Xenogears Remixed, part of ocremix.org, from the game Xenogears.
Up away from my body. My brain seems to be held in the grip of a giant light.
You remember that? You remember that? You killed.
That was Welcome to the Human Race by John Revoredo, Paul Weaps, from the album Humans and Gears, Xenogears remix from ocremix.org, from the game Xenogears. I'm out of titles for that now. Let's stick with the JRPG. Something that I have played. Final Fantasy XII is our mandatory Final Fantasy track of the episode. I really enjoyed Final Fantasy XII. The soundtrack I did not love for Final Fantasy XII. A lot of people worked on different pieces. Hayato, Suo, Hitoyoshi, Sakamoto, Masashiro, Iwata, and Nobuyu Uematsu are all credited for that. The soundtrack for Final Fantasy XII felt a little bit too much just ambient music that didn't really stand out. It felt very much like a MMO, like something you would hear on Final Fantasy XIV Online or World of Warcraft, that kind of style of music. There were a few tracks here and there that I really liked, but one of them that I really enjoyed, which is too bad because it's the Game Over track. I enjoyed hearing it, but I hated having to get to it. So I'm glad this mix exists. This is called The Winds of Inishmore by Avaris, and it just takes that original theme that you get whenever you die in Final Fantasy XII and makes it this relaxing, woodsy, strings-laden piece of music. It's very pretty. It's a bit sad. It almost sounds like a strings version of a Resident Evil save room. It just really nails the fantasy vibe. It's something that you wouldn't sound out of place in Elder Scroll Morrowind or Skyrim or Oblivion or those kind of games. So this is The Winds of Inishmore by Avaris from ocremix.org from the game Final Fantasy XII. was The Winds of Inishmore by Avaris from ocremix.org from the game Final Fantasy XII. A game that I would suggest, if you haven't played, to definitely play, and to play that the new version that came out, the Zodiac Age. I played it on the PC, and I was so excited because I missed the game when it first came out because I was broke, and then I went to college, and I just never had time or money to play it. So I was so excited when they re-released it, and it still looks great. The battle system is different, but I really enjoy it. I think it made me happy to go back to Final Fantasy. JRPG, I haven't played a Japanese role-playing game. I have not played Lufia 2, actually any of the Lufia games. This is from Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals, soundtrack by Yasunori Shiono. The track was originally called Parting. And this track's pretty funny. It's called Such Sweet Sorrow by djpretzel. It is the track that was released just recently on OC Remix to celebrate their 20th anniversary. OC Remix has been going on now for 2 decades. So this came out December 11th of 2019. And yeah, 20 years. I probably started listening to OC Remix in 2002. I got there a little later, but I've been with the site since I found them, and it's been really great. Apparently, this is part of an upcoming Lufia 2 album that's going to be called Of Gods and Men, and that's coming out sometime in Q1 of 2020, so that will be exciting. Play some more of that. This was a Super Nintendo game in 1995, so I missed so many Super Nintendo JRPGs when I was a kid, just because it wasn't a genre I played at all. This song is fun. It starts with that car starting, which already puts you into that kind of overdrive sound, and then that constant kick drum, and then the song becomes this 80s synth pop thing, and you just you see the sun setting. You're in a red Corvette. I don't think that kind of cruising USA vibe is something you find in the Lufia games, but maybe I'm way out there. This song, Such Sweet Sorrow, is just such a danceable club song. I love it. I love all the synth wave that's been happening in OCR too, especially with that Chrono Cross album, the Chronopolis album that came out a while ago. I mean, if this doesn't feel like the opening theme song of some 80s cop show, I don't know what does. I can't talk too much about the game. I can talk about how tasty this song is, but it's called Such Sweet Sorrow by djpretzel from ocremix.org from the game Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals. That was Such Sweet Sorrow by djpretzel from ocremix.org from the game Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals. Am I saying that right? Sinistrals, or is it Sinistrals? It's probably not Sinistrals, I apologize. As a Nintendo kid growing up, I didn't have a PS1, which I've said before in this show, which means I didn't play the Spyro games. Everyone else I knew did, because everyone else I knew had a PS1 and was trying to tell me my 64 wasn't cool. The 64 was cool. Don't enjoy your PS1 by trying to destroy my 64. The PS1 characters, as much as PS1 didn't have, like, a true Mario mascot. I mean, Spyro and Crash and Lara Croft, they were everywhere. So one thing I learned while looking at this remix is that Stuart Copeland, who was the drummer for the Police, he worked on the early soundtrack for Spyro, which I just didn't know until this day. So that's pretty cool. This is from the first Spyro game, which came out in 1998. Tracks being remixed here are Artisans and Title, again, originally by Stuart Copeland, the drummer for the Police. This is called I'll Torch Him by Laarx, and it's just this high-octane, fun, rocking song. I don't have too much to say about Spyro. I just got the remaster trilogy, so I'm finally gonna play Spyro, and I think they have the original soundtrack in there, so I can hear that, and the new remaster is just so darn pretty. You know, the PS1 games don't look bad, but goodness, the graphics for the new remaster, they're just so gorgeous. They look like a DreamWorks film. Yes, this is called I'll Torch Him by Laarx from ocremix.org from the game Spyro the Dragon. was I'll Torch Him by Laarx from ocremix.org from the game Spyro the Dragon, whose soundtrack was done by one of the people from The Police. That's crazy to me. I guess there are times during that song where it actually doesn't sound too far removed from some of The Police's more high-octane tunes. My sister still plays the Spyro games today. You get that Purple Dragon still gets a lot of work. Also on my to-play list is Undertale, which I haven't played those short. I got vacation coming up soon, so maybe Undertale should be on my list for that. There's a few games that are there, but maybe I just need to send Undertale to the top, because apparently it's not very long, and everybody loves it. So his theme and Hopes and Dreams by Toby Fox are on display here. Undertale released in 2015. I haven't looked at anything because I've heard the endings are so good, so I can't even say anything about the game. So let's just talk about the song. This is called Sunny Day Drive by Just Coffee. It actually kind of feels like that track Such Sweet Sorrow from Lufia 2, because the Sunny Day Drive, yeah, it's there. The top down in the car and you're just driving down the highway along the shore. It really sets that mood, and this song is just so happy. From those opening 80s notes, it's just a happy song. And that synth comes out, and it's just, you're just imagining everybody playing this song is just wearing sunglasses and smiling and having a good time. I mean, yeah, if you're feeling blue, this is the track to listen to. I gotta go to California and just drive along the coast, I think, listening to some of these songs. Hook me up with Lufia 2's Such Sweet Sorrow, and this one, Sunny Day Drive by Just Coffee from ocremix.org from the game Undertale. Sunny Day Drive by Just Coffee from the game Undertale from ocremix.org. Yeah, that should be my goal. During my vacation coming up, I gotta play Undertale. Another game on my to-play list, because apparently the only games I know are games I haven't played. This is from Wild Arms. I plan on playing at least the first 3 Wild Arm games at some point. This is from the Overclocked Remix album Wild Arms Armed and Dangerous that came out in 2011. A really great album, considering I've never played the Wild Arms game. It's actually one of my favorites. I like just putting on the Wild Armed and Dangerous album and just listening to it from beginning to end. I have no connection with the game, but the style and the music for that whole project is it really clicks with me. This is called A Ring and a Promise by Blind with Ashleigh Coryell. The original soundtrack was by Michiko Naruki. It's a somber trance piece, it feels like. Ashleigh Coryell's vocals, I think they're great, but there's this kind of like sadness to them all. I mean, the original track was called Lamentation and a Promise. Maybe I'm getting that there. Blind's trance work on here, one, it's always great. Blind is one of my favorites for that style of electronica music, and this is one of his longer pieces. A really deep trance piece that's actually, I find, kind of moving, and that's probably in no small part to Ashleigh Coryell's vocals. So this is A Ring and a Promise by Ashleigh Coryell and Blind from ocremix.org from the game Wild Arms. That was A Ring and a Promise by Ashleigh Coryell and Blind from ocrx.org from the game Wild Arms, the album specifically Wild Arms Armed and Dangerous. Hey, a game I've played, Super Mario Bros. 3, the underground background music, originally by Koji Kondo. So I guess this song is probably like metal synth. You know, you got the electric guitar, you've got some chip tunes in there. It just takes taking that underground theme and making it a real brain-melting tune. A little bit before the 2-minute mark, the electric guitar just goes off. A fire is put under it, and it just starts shredding, and you just want to tear your hair out. It's so good. And the chiptune pipe theme going out throughout the entire track, it's great. I don't know if this is the most rocking piece that you can hear from Super Mario Bros. 3, but it has to be up there. So this is Pipes by 7th Epic from ocrx.org from the game Super Mario Bros. 3. That was Pipe by 7th Epic from ocrx.org from the game Super Mario Bros. 3. Stone Cold classic, that game. Nobody needs to be told that. So much imagination just throughout the entire game. Just the fact that everything's like a stage play. That game just has... It's crazy sometimes to look at Super Mario Bros. 1 and then think the same system led to Super Mario Bros. 3. What a jump. 1985 to 1988. It's crazy. The things they could do on the original NES. We're gonna end with a somber piece. This is from the Walking Dead Season 1 game, the Telltales The Walking Dead Season 1. This is Clementine's Suite by Jared Emerson Johnson. Walking Dead, one of the few games that actually got me to shed a tear. It put me in a real sad mood. The second season... It didn't get me there. The second season was very tense of those games, but the first season tore my heartstrings out. Forget about tugging. It ripped them right out. This is called Don't Go. So you already know what you're in for. by RoeTaKa. It takes Clementine's suite from the Walking Dead games by Telltale, and makes it a little bit more cinematic, but I also kind of think it feels like a funeral procession as well. People slowly walking the casket out or marching it. The somber nature of the original track you can't throw that out no matter what version you're going for. And RoeTaKa seems to be doing is just kind of expanding on that somber tune. If these games had been the Walking Dead movies, then this is the style they would have gone for, I think. This is Don't Go by RoeTaKa from ocremix.org from Telltale's The Walking Dead Season 1. Ugh, that's Don't Go by RoeTaKa from ocremix.org. From Telltale's The Walking Dead, Season 1. That game, that first season, goodness. I haven't played Season 3, and I don't know what Telltale is anymore. I'm always going to remember my time playing those, at least the first 2 seasons, and I can't replay them, because what I played was my story. I can't go in and choose different decisions now. It's too late for me. Unlike the title of that track, Don't Go, it is time to go. That was the final track of the episode. So thank you for listening to Radio64, Video Game Music Remix Radio. I'm Eric Mickles. I've been your host. I'm known online as duskvstweak. You can find me on Twitter or Twitch or YouTube. Just look for duskvstweak. And again, Radio64 is part of the Radio Meanwhile network. You should visit radiomeanwhile.com for more information about this and other great podcasts. You can find past episodes of Radio64 on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And thank you to WRAQ 92.7 FM in Angelica, New York, for hosting us every Monday at 6 p.m. If you have any suggestions for games, source tunes, remixes, let me know on Twitter or YouTube, and I'd love to include them. And until then, see you next episode.